Well, everyone is going crazy. Quarantining for so effing long. It's been forever. And now, boom, cut the check. We're talking about some real quarantining here tonight. We're talking about The Lighthouse. That's right. Robert Pattinson. We're talking Willem Dafoe. Two men stuck in a lighthouse going insane. It's all happening on a very don't you harm a seabird edition of the Revue.
Hey, welcome to the Revue, a show where two small-town dudes give your big, dumb opinions. I am Troy to the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ephraim! And hey, my fiance just walked in!
Oh, what great timing.
I know, right when we start.
I don't know why you're surprised by that.
Do we want to just start over, or do you want to keep going?
Let's keep going.
All right, we're going to keep going. We're also being joined live here via his own studio by Dinosaur Neil.
Yeah.
Yo!
Now, Dinosaur Neil, let me get this straight. You have not, in fact, watched this movie.
Oh, hey, Neil!
Hey, hello. What's this show about? I've watched The Simpsons.
We are not reviewing The Simpsons, but we could talk about The Simpsons. You want to talk about The Simpsons?
No.
All right. We are talking The Lighthouse tonight, folks. Ever heard of it?
Yes.
What is this show even done? What are we doing here? So, yeah, right, we're going to get that top of the hour. Don't worry, if you haven't seen it, Neil, you can hop off at any point in time, because we pretty much drug you into this, gagged and bound.
Yeah. We just like your company, Neil.
Yeah. We just
Thank
like your third-party opinion.
Well, I tell you what. I've got news. So I'll have at least something.
Thank God. That would be amazing. Well, why don't we just jump into some news while we're at it? While we have the subject at hand of news, and that you have it, why don't we do it? I've got some news right here. HBO Max coming out end of the month, May 27th. Now, some people have asked me, one specifically Ghost Hunter Dave, if I have HBO Now already, and I'm paying already the same price, do I automatically get HBO Max? Well, the answer is complicated, because if you pay HBO directly, yes, you will automatically be updated to HBO Max. But if you pay a third party, such as Amazon or Roku, no, you will not be upgraded to HBO Max. Also, if you are an AT&T subscriber through cable, you will also be upgraded to HBO Max because it's a perk of the thing. But if you have any other cable program, no. And if you have HBO through your cable provider and have HBO Go, you also do not get HBO Max. It is a very complicated thing for a very easy thing that should be fixed. And yet, I had to read an entire, huge, long, complicated article in order just to give Dave a yes or no question, or yes or no answer, rather, because I am also curious about it, and I have one answer of I don't know.
That sounds like the perfect semblance of you and Dave's relationship.
It does. I have one question.
Yeah.
Is HBO Max and HBO Now different?
Yes. HBO Max is the new thing coming out, which has a ton of Warner Brothers movies, like the Warner Brother catalog, all lumped in with HBO, and they have their own like HBO independent series and stuff.
But it's
now, Troy, I'm stealing HBO Go from my parents. Do I get HBO Max?
Unfortunately, no, you do not get HBO Max. The question I want answered is, do I get HBO Max? And the answer to that is also no. I pay through my Roku to get HBO Now, so I'll have to cancel my subscription to renew a subscription to get HBO Max. Does that clear everything up for everybody?
Enough.
Great. Yeah. I'm glad I could be here tonight to do that for you folks. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll stick to Crackle. Thank you very much.
Oh, perfect.
Very good.
I don't feel right watching TV unless I get 40 minutes of commercials during what I watch.
40 minutes of the same Acura commercial.
Quick segue on the topic of commercials. So I haven't had cable, satellite, or anything like that for since like probably 2008. So
yeah.
Every time I've gone back to my parents' house and they have TV on and we're watching a movie or show, I just question how on earth they manage to watch any television at all.
Yeah, I can't even like figure out how to just like manage to search for anything anymore. Like I just feel like an idiot. You know what I mean? Like I got the remote, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pull the guide up, and I'm just like cycling through stuff, and I'm like, what am I even looking for here? What am I doing? And I'm like, they must feel that way when they watch my kids and can't figure out how to turn the lights on because I have it all through my Google Home. So I just come home and they're just sitting in the dark. They can't figure out how to turn my lights on, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's all even, Stevens.
And my mom uses our light switch, so it always pisses me off. And I'm like, Google light. And I do it for way too long, and then I realize the light switch is off.
It's the times we live in. It's too confusing. Everything's all different. Oh, you're playing with a Macy. You're playing with a Megazord, and you have all of it undone. Perfect, great. More news, boys. I got some funny news via Netflix. So Netflix has just come out with a couple of movies. One entitled John Henry, and another one. What was that one with the stupid pun in it that you brought up the other week, JT? Kareem of the Crop is what it was, or something like that.
I have no idea.
Anyway, they're getting horrible reviews. Like, on Rotten Tomatoes specifically, John Henry is a new movie based on, like, the folk hero, played by Terry Crews, and Ludacris is also in this movie, has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And yet, if you were to go on yesterday, or maybe even today, it shows that it's number 2 of the top 10 watch things on Netflix right now, which makes me wonder, why is everyone's life so bad that they must subject themselves to this torture?
Look at what quarantine has done to us.
But I guess everybody is kind of like a glutton for punishment. They feel like they hear that it's just bad and they have to see it for themselves. I mean, we do it. But why to make it all the way up to top 10 is quite astounding.
Well, with that being said, we're doing John Henry next week, everybody, so no.
Oh, no. I feel like I should not watch that, even though now I'm very concerned that I should. But yeah, you should... Night, Macy.
Night, Macy.
Night, Macy.
Good night, Macy.
Oh, she got a chorus of... What if I said night to you guys? Would you say that to me? I think
No.
not.
I would.
Oh, thank you, Neil.
You're welcome.
Oh, whoop.
I got great news for Lin-Manuel Miranda fans out there. Hamilton is coming to Disney Plus July 3rd.
Nice.
And this just isn't like a Disney Plus recreation of it. It's actually the stage show, which was going to go to theaters but since of the COVID, now it's just coming to Disney Plus. So this is about the only way I'll be able to see it. So I'm pretty stoked.
2.
Well, I already saw it because I'm cultured. So.
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be nice to see recorded, but I mean, nothing beats this stage.
Very good. Well, I hope you can just find your cultured ass and shove your head all the way up it. Thanks. That's all I got for that. More... I got some freak accident wrestling news. So apparently, I only put this on here because I thought the injury sounded very bad. But Rey Mysterio is in, like, his eye is in critical condition after taking, like, a weird, like, kick to the ring steps and it, like, dragged his eye across the edge of the ring steps.
What?
And now his eye is all, like, fucked up to the retina.
What?
Yeah. It happened, like, last, I think on Raw, maybe? But, like, he was taking some, like, just, like, stomp onto the ring steps from Seth Rollins and caught his eye on it and scraped it across the edge of the ring steps. And now he's just, like, totally effed.
And Rollins, gonna be a father, thinks he can just take away life now. My God. So I saw a funny tweet about the Rey Mysterio thing, and it was, so in Money in the Bank, somebody can throw Rey Mysterio off a roof, and you can see him the next day walking around just fine, but the ring steps, and he gets put in the hospital.
Well, luckily there weren't any ring steps at the bottom of Titan Tower. Otherwise, he would have been dead.
More news in the Mortal Kombat 11 expansion. It's going to be featuring old favorites such as Shiva and Fujin, as well as including RoboCop for the first time. And fans can rejoice because RoboCop will have his shooting in the dick move.
Yeah.
It is going to be one of his fatalities in which he throws a grenade over top of somebody and then aims and shoots through their dick to hit the grenade to explode them.
Perfect. I knew it. I called it.
Fantastic.
I saw a clip of it today. It's marvelous.
It is. Fantastic.
And newsworthy.
Now his victory celebration just needs to be him melting Red Foreman.
He just, like, rams people into vats of acid and they turn into, like, that melty man.
Yeah.
Kill me! Kill me!
Go ahead, Neil.
I was just going to say, my news is based on video games, so I can filter into that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I have a couple of video game things, one for this segment, one for a different segment that we'll get to later. But for the news segment, I would just like to say that there has been released a day or two ago now a first Unreal 5 PS5 footage. They made
me and Mo just watched this.
They made a demo reel for the PlayStation 5, and God, does it look phenomenal! Like,
it looks photorealistic.
Yeah, like way realistic. And they start talking about all like the technical jargon behind it when they're like walking through. But my God, and I get that sometimes demos can be a little misleading sometimes, but even if this is even just for like cinematics and things like that, not even gameplay, and the gameplay's just close, my God, the environments are like just real. That's the best. That is what it is. They look real, and it's insane.
Yeah, like the way it plays with like the way they play with like sunlight and stuff too. Like it makes everything just look insanely real.
Oh my God, yeah.
The
lighting effects amazing. Everything is like can have like super dynamic lighting. Oh my God, so many triangles.
Oh, the triangles.
Oh my God.
Popping it up on that TV you gave me here, Neil, just to check it out while we're talking, because I've been meaning to watch this, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And all I have is two dudes talking. Get to the big picture here, fellas.
Troy, that's the gameplay.
What?
Yeah.
Their thin beards look so real.
So it's like a minute 20 into the thing.
Oh, I'm into it now. This is great podcasting, but still. Oh my.
Yeah. It's so good. I highly suggest to all of you, if you're into video gaming, just to check this out. Just to see what like things are capable of, like coming like soon. And that is just amazing. Like it makes me so excited to see what can possibly be made of like this technology.
Oh yeah, like
I love it. Every time there's like a new generation of a video game console, it's like, oh, that's it. Can't get better than this.
Yeah,
Done.
right.
I like what people said that from like the jump to PS2. Like it can't get any better than this. But like literally, like I thought the PS4 and the Xbox equivalent, like in their HD modes, were still like really good. And I'm like, all that now it needs is just to keep focusing in on like small stuff. And really, with this, the small stuff makes all the difference in the world. Like high definition shadows and highlights and all that stuff, just little tweaks make everything look that much better. My God. Anyway, yeah, that's good stuff. I'm going to pause this or I'm going to keep just watching that instead of talking to you guys. But my God, yeah, that looks stunning. Stellar stuff. And coming very soon, probably. Who knows?
Is the PS5's release date this year?
Yeah, apparently it's still holiday of this year.
Oh,
Yeah, the end of this year, I think, yeah.
But due to the pandemic, that a ton of them haven't been able to get made. And so there's going to be not much of them, but
right.
There's going to be some out for this holiday season, so they say. So I'll get mine in like 10 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you see the whole backwards compatibility thing that it had going on, buzzing around it?
Yeah, I saw like a couple of months ago I did.
Right. That was kind of funny because like every PlayStation has been saying, we're going to be 100% backwards compatible. And then always a week later, they're like, but for like these 20 games.
And then they come out with a second version of that console that's not able to do it whatsoever.
Exactly.
Because then they realize they can't make that money again.
But okay, so I heard this. I now I'm not an Xbox guy, but the one thing that I can't remember what the newest Xbox is even going to be called, but that's going to have certain games that if you buy them for PS4, you can upgrade them to the PS5 version or the equivalent next version for free or whatever.
Oh,
there
cool.
are going to be certain games where you're going to be able to, those like weird, like I'm just launching this for this next generation. They're going to have some compatibility with those. And I can't remember which direction it goes, if it's you from this generation to the next or the next one back to this previous one. But it was kind of a nice little thing that made me just kind of tip my head and be like, yeah, that's kind of nice. Not buying it though. So
last bit of news I got focuses on an actor in one of the movies we were talking about tonight. The Lighthouse. I'm talking about Rob Pattinson. Hashtag,
Our bats is our bats.
That's right. Hashtag our pats is our bats. He is. I'm actually talking about Batman because he just had a whole GQ article about himself, in which he apparently makes an insane pasta dinner for the person interviewing him. Like, he doesn't know how to cook at all. like he didn't even know if something was a oven or a microwave. And apparently it was a microwave and stuck a ton of tinfoil in it and just fucked it all up. Like, he was trying to make pasta, so he put dry pasta in some water and put it in tin foil, and then was going to microwave it for 8 minutes. Like, that is way... You boil it for 8 minutes. In a microwave, it would take mere seconds. And yet, an explosion went off and exploded his microwave, and he's like, well, there you have it. And then it sounded like the most disgusting thing I've ever even thought about putting in my body, and yet he made that to actually eat. Anyway, that's not what I was actually going to talk about. What I actually was going to talk about is because he also went on a little tangent about working out for the Batman movie and saying that the personal trainer that he got and all the equipment that he got, he's not using it because he doesn't want to set the precedent that all of these leading men have to be these huge beefcakes. Because he's like, in the 70s, like, you just had like strong looking guys, but they weren't like ripped to the gills, you know? You just had like guys like James Dean or like Steve McQueen or whatever like that. And people thought they were just fine. It wasn't until lately where everybody has to be the frickin' Rock, where like they set the precedent on like these huge muscular dudes. And so I don't really want to do it. And so, guys, what do you think about that?
I dig it. I actually, like, when you look back at some of, like, the Sean Connery, like, James Bond ones, too, where, like, he's fit, but he doesn't have, like, abs or anything.
Yeah, he's like dad fit.
He's... yeah, exactly. But, like, that's still pretty great. And, like, I don't know. I think if you're just thick and just built like a brick shit house, like, I think that's way more tough than like being ripped to the gills. Because that, to me, that just spells out, oh, he's just really dehydrated, and a regular man could come kick his ass.
So, like,
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna agree with you like there a little bit because like I kind of am behind him on that. I mean, there's some stuff going on in the Lighthouse where he doesn't have a shirt on, and he's already in pretty good shape as it is. So, like, I wouldn't say, like, he's completely wrong about having to set up, like, this huge beefcake and precedent and, like, getting on the bandwagon with all these guys, but still, it is Batman, and he is, like... He trained himself to be built to perfection. So in this case, I think he's kind of off his mark a little bit. But if it was like somebody else, like, I don't know, like Spider-Man or whatever, who's fully covered head to toe in spandex, like, what does it matter? I don't know. Joel, what are your thoughts?
Like, I don't know. I like the idea of, like the way they say they're going to be portraying this Batman is he's more of a detective. So I don't see, like, the need for him to be, like, totally ripped to the gills. And the fact that Bruce Wayne's also supposed to be, like, incognito. it always, like, threw me off where it's like, hey, here's a super jacked millionaire. He's probably not Batman.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I get that.
So, I don't know. I like the idea of him, like... He can look athletic, but he doesn't need to look like he fucking lifts 400 pounds.
Mm-hmm. I also don't think that's super healthy for people to be doing all the time either. Like, to just live off chicken breasts and broccoli for like 9 months. And then just totally crash off that diet once they do their one shirtless scene. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Yeah. Don't tell Christian Bale that. You'd be fucking over professionally.
But for real,
no kidding though. Hugh Jackman's body looks like it wanted to scream for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting more ripped. I'm like, how are you doing this? Like
that. Okay, that's actually a really good example. X-Men, the first X-Men movie, Wolverine looks great. He's not super jacked. He's just burly.
Yeah.
And then you get to the Wolverine, like the last one they made, and like he's more vain than man.
Yeah. He's just a walking vessel. He's like a walking multitude of vessels of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, man. It's insane. Like, and what it gets me is like that was over like a span of what, like almost 15 years. So like he aged 15 years, probably until like close to being 50 or 50, and like he's just shredded. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Think about your health. Like, that can't be super healthy, because it's not like he's being like super athletic or anything like that. He's just like movie fit, you know?
Yeah.
He takes like one good like week off and he's got like 900 pounds built onto him. I don't know. But anyway, I am behind our Pats about the working out all the time, but at the same time, like, you are like, it does fit certain roles, so I'm not sure how I feel. So anyway, that's it. That's all my news. That's all I got.
That's why our Pats is our bats. Hashtag.
That's right. It's trending. Look next to the COVID-19 trend. It's going to be that hot.
Actually, good luck, COVID-19 trend. Our Pats is our bats is gonna take you over.
It's more infectious.
I got some Star Wars news, everybody. I know we're hot on that Star Wars train after our first episode of Star Warrantine. Neil, did you check it out?
I don't know if I even want to talk about it, guys. It's painful. It's very funny. It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life. But oh my, I need to slap some faces.
Well,
on whose part? Please tell me Cole's.
It's Cole. Oh my god.
you mean you're not a fan of Kwai Jing Long?
Or his friend?
Oh god.
Stay tuned. Star Warrantine Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, coming up this Monday.
It only goes uphill or I guess not uphill. It goes down. The movies go up in quality, but it's more of a downhill slope as it gets easier as you go.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I got some Star Wars news. Tamora Morrison, if you don't know who he is, he played Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones. He's actually going to be coming on to The Mandalorian to play Boba Fett.
Oh my god.
I've heard a bit of this, and what I heard is that he might be coming back. This is a rumor, but he might be coming to play multiple roles in the next season of Mandalorian, including Boba Fett. But as he is a clone, and there are some significant clones in the Clone Wars series, they're thinking he's going to probably portray one of those characters as well. Who knows?
Oh my. Just coming off the Clone Wars Episode 2. Never mind, I'm going to save it. I'm just going to save it for later. Can't wait, because I really thought they weren't going to put Boba Fett in the series at all. I know a lot of fans are clamoring for it, but I don't think the series really needs it.
Could be fun.
But it seems like this next season of The Mandalorian is going to be star-studded with him and then Rosario Dawson playing like a key character from the Clone Wars series and stuff. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And that's coming up fairly soon, right?
I think so. I think they're still calling for it to come out this year.
Great.
Not sure, but yeah. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get it going.
I got some Netflix news. Spike Lee putting out a movie on Netflix called The Five Bloods, which is being considered something that'll be eligible for an Oscar, which makes me pit the question with theaters kind of being shut down. you think this is going to be Netflix's year where they might actually win an Oscar?
Oh,
Could be.
Very, very well. Could, I guess. I don't think in pretty soon they're gonna have a choice because what else came out? You know?
Yeah. I know this is going to be like the one year where theaters can't be like, well, it doesn't count. Like, well, what do you have?
Never mind.
Never mind. So I just think it's interesting, because with all this streaming being flourishing because no one can really leave their house, this might be the year where it might be a streaming service that is taking home all of the Oscar gold.
This is the swing year. This is it.
This is it.
Trolls World Tour Best Movie 2020.
I almost spent another $20 on that movie today. I'm not even joking. So we've been watching some stuff on Amazon Prime lately, and that movie is just still being advertised like crazy on it. And Macy's like, "It's back! Look! It's here! We can watch it! Look!" And I'm like, "Oh, God, no. God damn." And she's like,
And the winner. Go ahead.
And she's like so adamant about it and making her point like, "Dad, did you see it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I saw it. It's here. It's back." And she's like holding her hands up like, "Look at this. Look." And I'm like, "Oh, God, I'm going to have to spend $20 more on this shit." And it's not even that bad, but I would then be spending $60 of my money on that movie, and they don't need any more. I'm like, Macy, you have to wait until it's cheaper, or it's a purchase that we can keep for more than a day.
Oh.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Oh, these kids.
No, I'm just picturing right now, like, the winner for best visual effects is Bloodshot.
Oh no.
Oh my
But no, that's all my news.
All right, right on.
But I do have some bits.
Oh my God, I also have some bits.
Shit. Oh no.
Neil, it's a good thing you're here
Yeah?
because you're the one that brought us this segment. It's your namesake.
That's
Okay.
very true. Do you want to do it live?
You want to do it live? You want to say live? Fuck
Yeah.
it, do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live.
Let's do it live, baby.
Okay. We're doing it live. Okay. Are we doing mouth sounds?
I don't know what that means, so yes.
Okay. People dying, it's the pits. Please stay tuned to Neil's Bits. Boom, 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 boom,
Ba-dum-bum.
Thanks for not cutting me off anytime during that. You needed to wait for the whole thing, and we did.
We did. We have so much respect for the song, Neil. We never interfere with it.
Yeah, I know. I listen every time, and it's so respectful every time.
JT, what do you got over there?
Man, it was a tough week. I have 3 bits.
Oh, I also have 3 bits.
Oh my God. Neil, do you have 3 bits?
I have been trying to keep as positive as possibly can. No bits.
Oh, good. Thank God. Well, Troy, do you want to do one?
Yeah, sure. I'll do one. So I have actually that Roy from the Siegfried and Roy duo has passed away at 75 age 75 years. What am I even trying to say? Now, he hasn't been performing in a while because he was actually attacked by the tiger that they had on stage. And so, but he actually passed away due to the coronavirus just a couple days ago at 75. Why am I trying to say 75 degrees? That's not what I'm trying to say. He passed away at age 75.
Dying at a cool 75 degrees. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So he's been kind of out of the limelight for a while. The last thing I heard was that he got attacked by that tiger and made a recovery, but never was really the same. But now
It's like 20 years ago, too, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But he passed away due to complications of COVID-19. It's too bad.
Hey, man. Shit's real.
That's right. JT, what do you got over there?
Well, I got one of the fundamental people of rock and roll, Little Richard, passing away at age 87.
Yep.
It's a shame.
Woohoo!
Exactly. What an electric guy. An electric human being. My goodness.
God.
I loved it when he would appear in like anything. Like if it was a commercial or he would just have like a weird guest spot like on a television show. Like for a while, wasn't he on like Family Matters?
I don't think he was on for a while. He might have done a few guest spots.
Well, that's what I mean. He was like he did a few guest spots, right? On Family Matters?
He's made it sound like he was like a regular. Like,
No.
he was Steve Urkel's dad or something.
But like I want to say that might have been my first experience of him was on Family Matters. That's why the only reason I bring it up is that I think I first saw him on that and realized who he was. And then who knows, maybe he was in like a Raisin Bran commercial, but like, I don't know. But still, an electric human being.
They put like a Jerry Curl mullet on a raisin and had him sing Tutti Frutti.
Yeah, probably did. But yeah, Little Richard passing away at 87, huge influence in the music scene for decades.
Oh my God. And so I think like rock and roll is like hugely responsible from him, regardless of what anyone says.
Oh, totally.
I'm saying it. Hey,
Yeah.
I know who the third guy is, and I'm going to say it.
All right.
The third bit, and I'm assuming it's the same for both of you, is the legend Jerry Stiller.
You're correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Jerry Stiller died just a couple days ago at age 92 from just natural causes. He's 92. So, like,
How'd he die? He was fucking 92.
Yeah, so like a lot of comedians the last couple days have been putting out their condolences online. I mean, Ben Stiller obviously did. A lot of the Seinfeld cast did. And with that, I saw a ton of Jerry Stiller stuff that I've never seen before up online. And he's just a masterpiece of a human being.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jerry Stiller rules. Like, I think George's dad on Seinfeld is probably my favorite part.
He's amazing. And that's like some of my only actual exposure to him, like, sadly. And that kind of goes for a lot of the comedians in that like age group, like Mickey Rooney and like Jerry Stiller and like Ed Asner. And those guys, like, those guys are all fucking hilarious. And like for some reason I only know him from a bit part in a TV show somewhere. It's a shame.
Yeah. I think Jerry Stiller also played the dad in King of Queens as well. If you ever watched that. Yeah. But he's just as good in that as anything else. But like Seinfeld is like his crescendo, you know? At least for me it is. Like he doesn't get any better than that angry Costanza.
Can't stand ya.
So that'll do it for Neil's bits. Thanks, Neil, for contributing that. I really appreciate it. We have one more segment. It's done.
It's done.
Done. You got any trailers over there, JT? No?
I got one.
I also have
one trailer. I'll save the video game one for Neil since he brought it up already. But I do have one movie trailer for a movie called Becky, which looks like if Home Alone was a drama.
Oh God. I don't know.
And it stars Kevin James.
What?
As a neo-Nazi skinhead playing a serious role who's trying to get a key back from a little girl who's using traps to kill Nazi skinheads.
Oh my God. What the fuck? Does it look any good?
I don't know. There's a part of me really wants to see it, and another part of me is like, this looks like it's going to be absolute garbage. But I don't know. It's up there. Like, Joel McHale plays her dad.
What the fuck? All right.
It's odd. You need to check it out. It's crazy.
I saw it in my in the site I usually check trailers or whatever, but I'm like, I'll pass on that. But now I think I kind of want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's worth it just to see Kevin James try and play like a serious villain. Like he has a giant swastika tattoo on his bald ass head.
Oh God. All right.
Well, okay, it worked for Patrick Stewart as a Nazi in Green Room, so
That's true.
Kevin
we'll see.
James is no Patrick Stewart.
Look,
That's what you gotta do.
It's all he's got.
If you want to break that funny man stigma, you gotta play a Nazi.
Yeah.
All right. I have one here. Joel, did you say this one last week? But the King of Staten Island.
No, I have not seen that one yet.
This one came out I think the same day we did the show. But it's a Pete Davidson almost kind of biopic a little bit from SNL. But he's like a kid from Staten Island. His dad dies in 9/11, and he's just kind of like dealing with the fact that now that he's older, his mom is starting to see someone else, and he's also like a fireman, and so he's like, it's kind of like a weird kind of, oh goodness, the thunder rolling. You hear that outside?
Oh yeah.
My God.
I'm in the same town as you, Troy.
All right. Anyway, it's like a weird kind of more dramatized version like of his life, and it looks good. Like, I've been a big Pete Davidson fan for the last couple of years. I think everything he churns out of SNL or anything that he does, I think is pretty good. So I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah, I keep meaning to watch that Hulu movie that he has out. I can't remember what it's called, but it looks kind of good.
Yeah, I'm all in. So bring it on. Neil, what do you got for a trailer?
My God, do I have a trailer that's going to bring your nostalgia back? Are you from the 90s? Are you from the early 2000s? Then you better be in on this. They're remaking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 combined in the same game for these current consoles. And I couldn't be more excited, because I played the shit out of those games, and I'm excited to try it again, and it looks great. They released a trailer. It's in stunning 4K. They've kept a lot of the same soundtrack, which is going to...
I was going to say, if they don't have Superman on that fucking soundtrack...
Oh, I know.
We'll see. This game could single-handedly revitalize ska as we know it. So, yeah, I'm super pumped. So, so growing up, played it a ton. Unfortunately, I lived in the country and had just gravel everywhere, so skateboards were just unfeasible. So like I never got into actually skateboarding as much as I'd like to. Still had one though, but yeah, super excited to play these. Just looking to dive right back into that. I've been watching nothing but Tony Hawk stuff for like the last 48 hours. It's been so great. Oh my god, he's such a nice guy.
Molly was saying the other day that she like follows him on Twitter because his Twitter is actually pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like it's just like him having like random confrontations with like fans where they're like, so I went to McDonald's today and someone said, "Hey, you're Tony Hawk," and I said, "Yep."
Yeah. Those are great. It's a lot of those.
So Neil, you posted that video to the bro chat, and like the very first thing I said was like, "It better have the same soundtrack." And it's so funny that Joel said exactly the same thing.
Dude, that's all I remember. Because I think I had the Tony Hawk Pro Skater demo, and it was just the one level where you played as Tony Hawk in that fucking basement and
warehouse,
blared Superman. Every fucking time you played it, and I couldn't get enough of that song.
It's gonna be so great. And the trailer itself has that Dead Kennedys Police Truck song, and that's a banger as well. Oh my god. Can't wait. I might even go buy a skateboard. I'm 31. I'll go skateboarding.
Yeah, and it's coming out pretty soon, right? Like,
yeah, September.
Oh, I thought it was even sooner than that. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 were fucking great. Like that's God, yeah. When those came out and like took the world by storm, and then everybody wanted to be a skateboarder. Like it was all due to these games. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
You know it.
But yeah, I hopefully like Officer Dick is all and everything.
Better be
Officer Dick.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for it. God, thanks for bringing it up again, Neil. You got my.
Well, I got one more trailer then, since I thought this is the one you're going to bring up, Neil. But they put out a story trailer for The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
And it looks
Yes, I agree.
Holy shit!
It's
like Ellie looks like she fucks dudes up in there.
Oh, there's no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, this
one part where like she leans a fat dude up against a rail and just starts shanking him in the gut, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Dude, this game's gonna be dark and deep.
Oh fuck!
It's,
I like how all we're just doing is exhaling because it's so good. Yeah, guys. Guys, I have all these kids that just revert me from having any fun.
Yeah, poor Troy will never be able to play it because they're just the minute you just start brutally murdering someone just makes he's gonna walk in. Dad, look what I made!
What's he doing, Dad? Like, she's just murdering a guy. Murder?
You do a bad thing.
Like, she will, like... Okay, so right before this, me and Chelsea were watching chiropractic videos, right, on YouTube?
As I do. Yeah.
And she was like, Daddy, what are you doing? He's snapping him? I'm like, yep. He's snapping him, and then she took my head and tried to crack my neck, and I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna kill me in my sleep.
Snapped your neck. Oh my god.
Well, yeah.
Your child's gonna wake up in the middle of the night and just break your neck accidentally.
Yeah.
Sneak into your bedroom and break your neck.
Accidentally, quote. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's everything. So what do we got going on in that tournament of random movies?
Well, we're finally in to the semifinals because we just had our last quarterfinal match between Tropic Thunder and the Grand Budapest Hotel. And Neil, you'll be happy to hear Grand Budapest took it.
Yes. Good.
Awesome.
So no Tropic Thunder.
I would have also liked to hear you do that one, though. So this was kind of a hard one.
But we're down to the final four in our semi-finals of Revue Tournament of Random Movies 9. And our first semi-final match is Whiplash versus Brewster's Millions.
God damn it.
Eric, get on those polls.
Eric's going to be campaigning the fuck out of this old-ass Richard Pryor movie.
Oh, my God. Excited for it. I'm excited.
Yeah. Neil, have you ever seen Whiplash?
Oh, I've never seen Whiplash.
Ah, it's real good.
I've always wanted to see it.
Okay. All right.
Well, it's real good. It's weekly real good.
It's a weekly real good. All right.
We need to bring that back. Forgot about that.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
There you go. For whatever reason, I can never just get behind to watch Whiplash. I don't know what it is. Like, it just doesn't seem to be anything that revs my engines. You know what I'm talking about?
You know what you should do? If Whiplash wins, you should be like, it's drummer month. I'm going to watch Whiplash.
Oh,
We're going to watch that one with Nick Cannon, Drumline.
Drumline?
And those are the
We're
only
gonna-
2 drum movies.
Yeah.
We're
And
going to
then-
watch Little Drummer Boy.
The Little Drummer Boy. And then we're going to watch that one where it's like a stage play, but it's like all percussion. What's that one called?
Stomp?
Stomp. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What if we put that on Disney Plus?
Drumming up some business over here. That sounds horrible. I don't want to do any of that. By the time
Thanks, Neil, but that sounds absolutely terrible.
Fair enough.
Oh, shit.
Well, Whiplash versus Brewster's Millions. Get out there and get your votes in. Hopefully we don't have a drum month.
Do all we don't have to do it. Just because Neil said it.
Neil said it. It has to happen.
God damn it. Well, that will bring us right to the main event of the evening with The Lighthouse. Now, Neil, to be fair, we already said you did not watch this movie, correct?
That is correct.
So you either have a choice now, you can kick off, or you can just listen to what we're going to say live.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to hit the disconnect button on Discord, and you won't be hearing from me for the rest of the evening.
Very good.
So, gentlemen,
Well, Neil,
enjoy the review.
Neil, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I'll be back sometime when I have something to contribute. Anyway, gentlemen, ta-ta!
God damn it.
Oh, what a classy fella, that guy. All right.
That son of a bitch.
Well,
Anyways, The Lighthouse.
yes, The Lighthouse came out October 18th, 2019. Had a mere budget of $4 million. Domestically brought in $10.8 million and worldwide raked in $17.9 million. Just shy of 18. Rotten Tomatoes has this at 90%. IMDb 7.6 out of 10. Metacritic 83%, and The Culture Vultures 8.5.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it 90%?
Yes.
All right.
Some fun facts before we get into the review, that most of the weather in this movie was all real. Barely any.
Fucking New England.
Yeah, no shit. Barely any of this was fabricated weather, unless maybe they were inside, but most of it was all real weather.
Jesus.
This is actually also based on a real life account where 2 Welsh men named Thomas were running a lighthouse where one of them died and the other one went mad. because they had to watch a lighthouse for so long. Another fun fact is that they actually constructed a real-life lighthouse for this movie. This wasn't just one that already existed and they retrofitted it, but it was mostly just two sets, the outside set of the lighthouse and the inside set of the cabin. The set design for the lighthouse looked so good that the townspeople didn't want it taken down because they thought it added to like the scenery of the town. But because it's not really weather bearing and it's not like a real stone lighthouse, it's just wood, that it had to be taken down or it would have been crashed very soon and just been washed away into the ocean.
Oh my god.
And another one last fun fact before we get into the review, that A24 and Regency Pictures only agreed that this movie could be black and white if they took out all of the full frontal male nudity to avoid the NC-17 rating.
Oh
So,
my god.
Apparently, I was reading...
Well, I mean, Willem Dafoe had shown his dick before.
Apparently, that there was quite a few references to a lighthouse acting like an erect penis in this movie. At least one scene.
I caught that without even having the male nudity in this.
And so they kind of allude to that a little bit, but there was also other full frontal shots where they had to be taken out in order for it to be agreed to be black and white. And that was like one of the prerequisites for like I think it's the Egger brothers, right? They wanted this movie to be black and white. That was on like the script title page, is like The Lighthouse shot in black and white, aspect ratio, blah 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 blah. Like that's what they wanted for their vision of the movie, and to get it across, they had to take out all the dicks.
We'll give you what you want, just no dick.
I mean, it's a gratuitous amount of penises in this. No, I don't know, But yeah, so JT, what was The Lighthouse all about?
Well, we follow two men, both named Thomas, that are watching a lighthouse together, and they go fucking insane. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's very apt. So, you approached me with this movie due to being self-quarantined and these guys going absolutely insane. I would say I didn't go as insane as either Thomas in this movie, but I know anytime you suggest a movie like this, you always are riding that line of will he hate it?
Yeah.
I'll get to that full on review or my rating obviously later, but I went into this movie with a tad apprehension, but I did hear that it got fairly good reviews late last year when the movie came out. So I was like, okay, but so do some other weirdo movies. And I heard it kind of got a little bizarre at some points, and I'm like, is this just going to be some funky, wonky mother type shit? Like, I don't know. So I went in, but I would say right from the get-go, I was already on the hook. Like, I was already, like, digging this movie from, like, the first, like, couple minutes.
Oh, really?
Just for the atmosphere alone that it set, and I think it did help that it was in, like, a fun, like, aspect ratio and was set in black and white, and it was just like, I don't know, just the ambiance of it like drew me into it. Maybe it was the time of day I started it or whatever it was, but like I was liking it right from minute one.
Yeah, like I think that's what I liked the most about it going into it too, is that even like, yeah, it's black and white, but they almost kind of do it like in a form of black and white where it feels aged at the same time. Like this movie feels like it was made in the time that it takes place in.
Yeah, like 1890, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like right away fell in love with Willem Dafoe's accent.
Oh my god.
Because he
is
just
the
talks
best
like an
in this.
old-timey sailor. And I just love it.
Why'd you spill your beans?
And I love it. He never says you. He always says ye. So I was loving the shit out of that. It's like ye don't kill the birds.
Man, if you like this, you would love like Robert Eggers' other movies because he does The Witch, where like you follow like this family that all speak in completely in Old English, like the entire movie.
Oh my god! Well, with that, I was also reading that the Eggers were like really particular on how these two guys in here actually spoke, and like down to the cadence of how they said it. So like, yes, they wanted to get the accents down because I guess both accents are real, like accents. One is like an old timey sailor accent, and the one that Rob Pattinson has is like a northeastern Maine accent.
He's like a borderline Kennedy in this.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was gonna say that, and they would even say like, okay, during that line read, could you read it back, but go like 75% slower on the third line? It's like
Holy
just shit
shit.
like that. Like
I lose my mind on this.
I would too. Like, so I was actually, the more I read about just how the movie was shot, like, because the movie really, plot-wise, isn't too heavy on stuff going on, really. But, like, the making of the movie was super interesting to me, and, like, how they wanted it shot. Like, they wanted exact kind of dialects to get, like, this time period down, and, like, really set it in this northeastern atmosphere. And then just like it just really set a tone for what they were trying to do. And even like the different acting styles of Rob Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, I was reading, are so contrastedly different. And even like on set, they wouldn't even really, like, for instance, so Willem Dafoe is more of like a stage actor, right? And so he would rehearse his lines over and over again and want to rehearse them off of somebody and like get them down pat. So like that's how he can do like that big, huge, long speech, that curse that he puts on. Freaking
So this is like his cooking?
Yeah. So he could get it down because he did that scene in one take. And he did it.
God damn.
And I guess like I didn't pay any attention to it, but like in one of the directors says if you watch it back, he doesn't even blink for 2 straight minutes while he's doing that line. And I'm like, holy shit! Like he was so pissed that he didn't like his lobster.
You like the lobster, eh?
And then Rob Pattinson has a completely different acting style in where he doesn't like to rehearse because he feels like it lessens the spontaneity when you do it on set for the first time. And so you get that actual energy between actors, which I like also really appreciate. And so even I was reading other directors usually like Rob Pattinson's first take of something because it's got like a lively energy to it and he's never done it in front of anybody yet. And so, like, and then I was also, like, reading that Rob Pattinson does, like, weird things to get, like, amped up. Like, he'll just spin around in circles or try to, like, choke on his fingers before, like, before he would, like, they would say action. Like, the drunken fight scene in this. Like, he was laying on top of Willem Dafoe, and before they said action, he was, like, trying to gag himself with his fingers to, like, get pumped up for the scene and just trying to get, like, his face kind of, like, all, like, dripping and or whatever. And, like, even Willem Dafoe was like, if this fucking guy pukes on me, I will fucking kill him. But, like, and then on set, like, Willem Dafoe would like eat with the crew on breaks, and Rob Pattinson would kind of go off and be by himself. And so like it's just cool to see that these two guys from completely different backgrounds can come together, and they're really good actors together. Like you can feel it. Like they are really acting like during this movie. And
Oh yeah.
it's really, I appreciate it quite a bit.
No, and I almost kind of appreciate it more by you giving me those facts because as good of actors as they are, you do kind of feel some weird disconnect between the two of them. And just like thinking about Willem Dafoe does kind of seem more like the person that goes through and rehearses his scenes, and Robert Pattinson does kind of seem like a spontaneous, off the cuff person more. And thinking about those things, just thinking back to some of those scenes, it almost kind of feels like that clashing between the two of them, almost kind of adds more to the chaos of it. And it almost makes me appreciate it more now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like two actors that I would never ever think about putting together in a movie.
Oh yeah,
and
not at all.
It works so well.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact.
I love movies just like this where it's just two people and there's barely a plot. You're just watching them just play off each other.
Also, fun fact that that's the real facial hair in this movie. They actually grew it out. So Willem Dafoe actually grew out that weird, gross beard.
Willem Dafoe grows a pretty bitchin' beard.
No shit. Let's see.
He's got that kind of beard where it curls out, whereas his beard looks so good it looks fake.
It's it couldn't possibly grow a beard that good. That's prosthetic. Yeah. Also, during my research of this movie, I found a very odd fact in the IMDb trivia about mermaid genitalia.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can't show dick, but you can show mermaid vagina.
So there is a whole kind of long paragraph in the IMDb trivia that I'll summarize right now, but I very much push for anybody to go and that's wondering about mermaid vaginas to go and read this paragraph. Because I learned a lot about mermaids as it goes too, because I didn't know that mermaids were originally drawn with a split tail, two tails like the Starbucks logo. Because in old sailor stories, they needed to have the anatomy and able to still have sex with them. And so I'm paraphrasing this paragraph here, but later on, when some new, the Victorian era came along, mermaids were changed to have a single long tail, and so then came in the question on how do sailors have sex with them. So that's the question that the Egger brothers put together, and that's how they designed the vagina for the mermaid in this movie.
Yeah, they zoom in on it too. It was graphic enough for them. I know this is manufactured, but that's a fucking vagina.
That is a mermaid's pussy. And
they zoom in on it.
Granted, and that part is barely in the movie. Doesn't need to be in it at all, really. But it's in there as a very detailed
dream sequence of just Robert Pattinson fucking a mermaid, and then right before he does it, they almost go inside the mermaid vagina with the camera.
So I implore anyone who's now curious to read that paragraph in IMDb trivia for The Lighthouse. You will be tickled pink.
Literally.
Yeah. But I think those are all my little fun facts out of the way of the movie. But so overall, once this movie got started, and they pass the baton to those other lighthouse workers or whatever, and they're kind of just sitting down. I love immediately how it's old vet with the new young pup, and he's Rob Pattinson is taking orders from Willem Dafoe of like how these things need to be done, me boy, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
If these boards aren't clean, we'll take them apart board by board and put them back together, ye, or whatever. And I just love that he is so overbearing to Rob Pattinson that it's making him go completely bonkers. And so when he tries to like spy on Willem Dafoe and what he's doing, he's like doing like the simplest of tasks of just watching The Lighthouse or
having fucking his bed.
Or I was just say having sex with his mattress. I love those little things. Just the tipping point of his insanity goes fairly quickly because there's quite a bit of time that passes in this movie, and this movie is only just shy of 2 hours.
Yeah, and I think it takes place over the course of like 5 weeks, maybe.
I think it's 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 5 or 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Because originally they're only supposed to be there for a month, right? And then the next crew takes over, and then
I think it was I think maybe a month.
And then after that, their replacements come in, and then that's how it goes. It's just the cycle of how it goes, or whatever. But because of Robert Pattinson, Robert Pattinson has a bit of a scuffle with a few gulls, and so,
holy shit! How fucked up is that scene where he kills the gull?
That was insane, right?
He kills the shit out of that seagull.
And he just keeps going. So, like, earlier on, he's warned by Willem Dafoe. He's like, oh, gulls have the souls of dead sailors in them, or blah, 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 blah. You never kill a gull.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
Yeah, exactly, a seabird. And so, like, this fucking gull that with one eye is just pissing him off for days, right? It's pecking at him, ripping his pants. And so, like, one falls into the cistern and just makes it all shitty. And, like, he's trying to dig it out, and this fucking gull is all up in his face, and he just takes that thing and smashes it against this cistern for, like, a minute straight. Like, it is...
It felt like a minute. Watching him just beat the piss out of this seagull against a fucking rock wall.
He is just smashing it. And when you think he's done, he just keeps going. And I'm like, oh my God. And then, of course, Willem Dafoe, he might have been right, because the curse of ye dead sailors in the gull and the seabird put a nor'easter on them and changed the winds, and then their replacements can never come because the weather is too bad. And he even goes on telling a story of, like, he heard a tale where they had to stay there for 7 months or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, I almost wish this story took place over 7 months just to see, like, the insanity ensue. Not that there's any slight of it in this movie, but my God.
What would they keep drinking if it was there for 7 months?
I don't know. Like,
they broke open that crate of vodka after 4 weeks, and then they were done with it in 5 weeks.
Yeah, they definitely just start drowning themselves in booze after that month.
Holy shit. When they start mixing honey with fucking kerosene, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That was so fucking disgusting. I almost yacked when I found out that it was like kerosene and honey, and I'm like, God. And then later on, he's just drinking straight out of the can.
Oh, yeah. He fucking, spoiler alert, he fucking brutally murders Willem Dafoe with an axe and then just starts drinking kerosene straight.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, dude. That whole scene when he's fucking burying Willem Dafoe alive and he keeps talking.
Oh, yeah, and he keeps throwing dirt in his mouth and shit. Oh, my God.
He's, like, chewing on it, too, while he's talking.
like all the more power towards Willem Dafoe. He does not stop or cut his line at all.
Yeah,
like he just
that
keeps
scene
getting,
is it's so fucking good.
he just keeps getting pummeled in the face with shovels full of dirt, and he is just still talking and just chewing on this dirt, and it never cuts. It just keeps going. I'm like, God damn.
And you can tell he's uncomfortable because his eyes are like shut so hard that he's like shaking because the dirt is just getting all over his face. And he's still talking, and he's chewing on this dirt while talking because it's the only way he can keep it from like going down his throat.
Oh, my lordy. So what? And then, so he tries to get him buried alive there, and I'm like, oh my god, if Willem Dafoe comes back, I'm going to applaud. And he does. He does come back. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he comes back and almost cuts off Robert Pattinson's arm.
Then, he ends up getting taken down anyway, and then he goes fucking Seabird all over Willem Dafoe and just hacks at him with an axe. I'm like, oh my god. Jesus. But there's, with that being said, there's a ton of other supernatural stuff that go on in this that totally like throws you off, because you can't really tell if this is going to turn into like a supernatural tale or not at some points, or if they're just going insane. Because at some parts of it, like fairly early on, I even think like Rob Pattinson sees this mermaid, right? And then he is also starting to see things like the head of the dead sailor, or maybe his possible ex-partner, of Willem Dafoe's ex-partner, I should say.
Yeah.
But you don't know, like, are these real events? Like, the mermaid is obviously not. But does he actually come across that severed head?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I remember reading up a little bit on this, where like I guess the Eggers did a lot of research on like old sailor mythology, and they threw a lot of that in there, like whether it was small or not. And I think that's a lot of the dream sequence stuff, like especially like Willem Dafoe being like a squid for no reason at one point, and I think like he even kind of portrays. I think he's supposed to like portray like Poseidon at one point.
Okay.
But like there's a lot of like old like sea shanty mythology that's supposed to be littered throughout this too.
They definitely did their homework on it. I guess they wanted to do, or at least they had like a rough draft of this even before they did The Witch. And so they've kind of been biding their time to do this movie. And I don't know why it got put on the back burner. Maybe just actors they wanted to use, or they couldn't get a location for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but they've wanted to. This was like a passion project of them, so they had a very clear vision of what they wanted. So they must have done a ton of research and whatever on it. I don't know, like what struck their fancy, but I think it paid off in spades. Like,
man, I'm. You haven't completely given away what you think about this movie, but I think you would actually really like The Witch, because their way of making this reminded me a lot of The Witch, where it's very true to the period it takes place in, but they still throw in like some supernatural stuff that makes it really fun.
Okay. Yeah, it is one I wanted to check out. Is it more because this movie isn't so much horror as it is like a thriller.
Yeah.
Is The Witch like a horror movie?
I'd say it's as much of a horror movie as this is. Like, They don't do a lot of shit where like it's super horrific images.
Okay.
But it's a lot of like creepy imagery.
Okay. I actually
there's a haunted goat named Black Phillip in it. That's badass.
I actually got into it like the same discussion last night when I was talking to Ghost Hunter Dave about like I'll bring it up a little bit later, but we got into a conversation about what horror movies we like, and I don't necessarily like horror as much as he does, or maybe even you, but I do like a psychological thriller. So like when ghosts and goblins and stuff, I'm like, whatever. Like, I can have fun with that, but I don't really get into it as much as like the twisted what like drives a man to go crazy. And I think,
oh yeah, that's the kind of horror I like too. Like it's not so much the situation; it's like what's bringing about the situation.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's what I like about this as well. Because I first saw it was like an action, or not action drama, a horror drama. And then when it finished, I'm like, well, it doesn't really have a ton of horror in it. Like there's violence and a bit of creepy imagery. But horror, I don't think so. So like, but horror is like a weird genre that encapsulates a lot of stuff too. So
I know, as long as there's like something scary in it, you can be like, oh, it's a horror.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Oh, you did bring up him becoming like that squid thing at the top of the lighthouse. That was like, what the fuck is even going on here? So there's
that one part where like. It sounds like he's jerking off, and then there's like this weird slimy stuff falling on Robert Pattinson's face, and I'm like, oh my, is he seriously jizzing on his face right now?
Yeah, but then you see like a big Lovecraftian tentacles up there.
Yeah, and then you see like a tentacle, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
Because I thought the exact same thing. It sounds like somebody's fapping up there, and Rob Pattinson is just fucking staring up through the grate, watching him beat off or whatever. And I'm like, what is this guy's MO here? He's watching him fuck his mattress. He's watching him beat off. He's beating off to some mermaid like little figurine in a shed. Like, what? What's going on? One thing of this movie I did kind of miss, and I was hoping you could maybe fill me in a little bit about it. He gave a little bit of backstory about himself. Rob Pattinson did, where he used to be a logger. And there was, it's one part of the movie where I kind of got distracted with Macy coming in and out of the room.
Yeah.
What all went on with that?
So like his supervisor when he was a logger was the Ephraim Winslow, the name that he takes on. And he said there was one time when they were logging, like you're supposed to like ride the logs down the lake back like in the 1800s. And then like just like a random wave came along where like he was able to stay up and his supervisor couldn't, and he fell, and Robert Pattinson had just enough time to save him, but he just chose not to. Like he either froze or whatever, and he just watched him get swallowed up by the logs, and like he didn't really know how to react, so he just was like, "Well, I'm gonna go smoke."
Oh damn!
So he like watched a person die, and it like kind of like made him catatonic, and then he didn't know really how to react to it.
Damn. Okay. I think I caught most of that then, but then I wasn't sure if I missed anything or not.
Yeah. But that guy's name was Ephraim Winslow, which is the name that he says he is when he first gets there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any more notes about this flick. Do you got anything else you want to add?
So like much like all the weird shit that we watch, I do have like a crackpot theory about this.
All right.
But like, when I was first reading, a lot of the theories that I was reading online was that this is kind of like a roundabout way of telling the story of Prometheus, which is like a Greek. I think it's like a Greek story.
Yeah.
About like a guy who defies the gods and takes fire from them.
Right.
And then like ends up being tortured for doing so. I think I heard that. I think that's the story or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
But like I took it as like I feel like this is like the Eggers' interpretation of what they think purgatory is.
Okay.
Where Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson are the same person, but Robert Pattinson is Willem Dafoe is the older version of him, and Robert Pattinson's the younger version of him. And the true test to see if you go to heaven or hell is whether or not the two versions of yourself can coexist.
Oh, okay.
So, like, and then I think, like, the main message of the whole movie is how toxic masculinity can change someone over time where it turns them into something that cannot coexist with like what your natural self is. Because the whole movie is Willem Dafoe trying to be like that man's man, where it's like you work hard, you bury all your feelings, and then when it gets too tough, then you drink. And that's all he really does throughout the whole movie, and tries to shape Robert Pattinson into that kind of person throughout, even down to where like he wants to confess this terrible thing that he did. He starts kind of chastising him, like why'd you spill your beans and all this shit. Like I think that's like the main message of the movie is like, and that's why like they focus so heavy on the Lighthouse, and I think that's why they wanted to show male dongs most throughout, because it was like like that's like the main message of the whole movie is that like Willem Dafoe has been beaten down to where like he's a man's man and he does what men do, and Robert Pattinson is just young enough where he is his own person and he's being shaped by this man's man that's making him do things that he's not totally comfortable with.
Right.
But like I think like the movie itself, because they're both named Thomas, the movie itself is telling you that they're the same person. It's just what time has done to each end, or what time has done to the Willem Dafoe part of this person is shaping what like the younger part is. And then at the end where like he rejects it and like is too broken to come back from it is when he essentially goes to hell, where he's like tortured for the rest of his life, i.e. eaten and shit on by birds.
Yeah, I could most of your crackpot theories, that one doesn't strike me as very weird. And what frame of mind were you in when you came up with this? This one I can follow.
Yeah, but even at the beginning when they first get there, like you see the two people leave and they're kind of leaving hand in hand almost. Well, granted they're holding like a chest between themselves, but it's like it kind of shows you like this is what a successful version of this looks like, where they leave together and they get off the island, but then you get exposed to these two where you see how they're breaking each other down. And I think that's like I said, this is like the Eggers version of what they think purgatory is, where you meet your older version meets your younger version, and if you can coexist, then you go to heaven.
Well, what a crackpot theory you got. I don't think it's so crackpot this time, but so congrats to you. Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
Well, why don't we just get into what we thought about the movie as a grade? All right. I'll go first since this was an experiment upon me.
All right.
I'll go in saying I really was enamored with the movie from right off the bat. I thought it had great scenery. I thought the soundtrack was nice and haunting. The actors did an amazing job. I don't have a ton of criticisms, really. I can see how this movie would not be for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it was for me. So I quite liked it. I would probably give it an A-.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it wasn't my favorite thing in the world either, but I can appreciate it a lot more for what it was than a lot of other movies that you get me to watch. So I would recommend this to others. I don't know if they would take me up on that offer, but I quite liked it. I would give it an A-.
Wow, I went into this expecting to just be in full defense of it, but I'm right in the same boat as you. I think even going into my second viewing of it this time, I was like, I'll probably do maybe a B+. But my second time watching it, I think I liked it even more. And yeah, I'm giving this an A- for sure. Because I don't know, I was just the the way the way both of them commit in their insane ways to all these scenes is even that is just worth watching it because they do not hold back in almost any scene in this.
No. Whether they are fighting with each other or dancing with each other or sitting quietly just hearing him being talked at by Willem Dafoe. I like it wholeheartedly. I want to see if I can get my dad to watch it, see what he thinks. He's probably going to think it's real weird.
Oh my God, I would love for Dwayne to watch this.
I'll see if I can see if he'll buy it because he just still buys movies outright on DVD. Like, hey, Dad, I picked up this DVD for you. Why don't you check it out? Let me know how it was.
We're just gonna sit in a deli and talk about the Lighthouse.
Oh, it'd be so good. Well, besides the Lighthouse, have you been into anything else this last week there, JT?
Well, me and Molly started the new show by Justin Roiland on Hulu called Solar Opposites.
Yeah, I wanted to check this out.
It's kind of it's very Rick and Morty-ish. Well, it almost completely reminds me of Rick and Morty in almost every single way. But they try and take like the out there ideas of Rick and Morty and try and fit it into like alien ideology. And yeah, if you like Rick and Morty in any way, shape, or form, you're gonna love this because they'll even do side stories where the quote-unquote children of the alien family that comes there, they built like what's essentially kind of like a hamster terrarium out of like a wall in their house, and one of them is obsessed with just shrinking people and putting them in this wall, and like they're doing like a whole like they have like a whole Mad Max like Mad Max side story with like just the people in the wall that they'll cut to every once in a while. That's fucking hilarious.
Awesome.
Like, it even like breaks down their own currency where it's like because like the girl child of the family feels bad for them, so she feeds them candy. So candy is like their currency. And, like so like they're always like trying to like pay with candy and shit. But then like if you get drunk and you have like something weird in your pockets, like you're considered like a millionaire. Like there's like one episode that I watched where one person got shrunk with like a Playboy in their pocket, and they're like considered like one of the most powerful people in here because it's like reading material and there's not much reading material. So like they're like bartering for like insulin for like their dad that has diabetes and shit, and it's like it's so out there, but it's like classic. It feels like Rick and Morty, but they try and do more of like a space alien take on everything. So if you love Rick and Morty, you're gonna like Solar Opposites.
All right, right on. Sounds good.
And that's pretty much all I've been into. Well, me and Molly are watching Back to the Future too. We just finished part 2, and we're gonna watch part 3 pretty soon. But yeah, Back to the Future's so good.
Yeah. What's so this question has been going on semi recently because Back to the Future's been like trending as it's been on Netflix. What's your favorite, or what's the order from your favorite to least favorite?
I'm gonna probably have to say 1 is my favorite, and then probably 3, and then 2.
Yeah, see, that's the same with me. 2, for whatever reason, I think it's bogged down in itself. There's some fun stuff in it, but I think 3's like way more fun.
Yeah, like I think 2 tries to be way too complicated, and then 3 goes back to just that simple premise of one time frame.
It's the Wicked Wild West, baby.
Yeah, Wicked Wild Wild.
I haven't been into much of anything. I was for a good portion of the week trying to finish what we were going to be reviewing for Monday. So I've been doing that. Otherwise, like last night. So did I tell you that somebody contributed $15 to the Imperious Rex Patreon so we would review or we do a commentary for House of Wax.
Oh yes, how'd that go?
So we did that last night. I have it on my another tab on my Audacity to edit together, but I'll just give you this little hint right now for the listeners. We barely talk about House of Wax. But
did you like do it like Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, or just talk about it?
We had it going. We hit play at the same time and talked over the whole movie, even like through the whole credits. And we talked about things going on. It wasn't like Mystery Science Theater. I mean, some parts were. Like for a little stint of it, I thought Dave was trying to like mouth the dialogue to the movie and like make up like dialogue with what this guy was saying. So we did that for like, I don't know, like 2 minutes before we realized we suck at it. But it was a good time, I would have to say. So that's gonna go up as soon as I get it edited to patrons first, because they paid for it, obviously, and then it will probably be hosted on this channel as well. Like we'll put it up on YouTube, and we'll probably put it up on this review podcast channel in like a couple weeks.
Right on.
So if you want to listen to it, then you can. But first things first, it's going to go up on the Patreon. So check that out if you are a patron. But that's pretty much all I've been doing. Doing a lot of podcasting this last week. Haven't had a lot of time for anything else. So that brings me to this, JT. It's near the end of the show. Where could they find you?
Hey, they can always find me at Bucky for Everyone on Twitter, also Bucky for Everyone on Instagram, and Bucky for Everyone on Snapchat. Troy?
You can find me at Troy to the Max on Twitter. Hey, find us both at Revue Pod on Twitter as well. All of our new episodes are uploaded onto reviewpod.podbean.com, as well as almost every other podcasting site such as Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, you can rate and review us there, because if you like the show, that helps other people find the show. And if you want to write in, you can also do that at reviewpod@gmail.com. While you're visiting us at our Twitter site, please vote for the Tournament of Random Movies. We have the final four right now, which is Brewster's Millions versus
Whiplash.
So do that. That's going to be the show. That'll
There
do
you go.
What do we got?
So for Monday, Troy,
Yes.
we're still going under Star Warrantine. we have old Coach Havens coming back. We're going to be talking about the thing that you've probably been trying to get through this last week. With Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We're going to see... I tried to get out of Cole earlier today how far he made it through it, and he said, you got to wait for the show.
Oh, okay.
So he is keeping it close to the chest.
All right.
I can't wait to see what happens for our Monday show of Star Warrantine, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And I do have an episode for Thursday.
Okay.
Because I just saw available on Hulu.
Okay.
So it's free. We've been talking about it.
Great.
Troy, let's do Demolition Man.
Oh my goodness. The movie that has eluded me my whole life?
Sly Stallone and Wesley Snipes fight in the future where you wipe your ass with 3 seashells.
Very good. What a premise. Demolition Man. All right.
So yeah, Demolition Man for next week.
Very good. Awesome. So there you go. You got the next 2 shows on the docket. Set your clocks. They'll be out. Don't you worry about that. But until next time, where we're talking Attack of the Clones with good old C. Havens, I have been Short of the Max Extreme.
I am JT3K.
And we are off.